technical education. When I got into public life now 30 years ago as a city councilman, then mayor, and then through state government, I began to really notice the disparity in the way public policy treats college degree acquisition and high quality skills and credentials acquisition. So Pell Grants, which are a fantastic program, and we've made Pell very flexible. Full-time students or part-time students, students who are incarcerated. We've made it real flexible, but we've never allowed it to be flexible to help students afford high-quality career and technical education that doesn't fit within a traditional college semester. So when I came to the Senate and I started working on issues, I took up the cause from my earlier time in local and state government to really advance career and tech, and worked with then Senator Rob Portman on the idea, of course, we should make Pell Grants available to high-quality career and tech. What an enormously popular and bipartisan idea it has been, and yet we still haven't accomplished it. We get through one committee, but not the other. We get through one House, but not the other. We get very, very close, but all the while gaining more bipartisan support, and all the while speaking more kind of directly to the conditions of our economy, the conditions of our workforce. In the aftermath of two significant achievements during the Biden administration, the infrastructure law and the CHIPS manufacturing law, the need for high quality career and technical skills in our workforce is even more acute. There's a number of things we're going to have to do to solve that workforce need. We're going to need a workforce-based immigration reform. We're going to need more affordable child care, because a whole lot of people are out of the workforce who want to be back in because they can't find affordable child care. But part of the answer for the American workforce and the American economy is more incentives that will help people go into high quality career and technical fields. And so I have worked on this bill for a number of years, and and just filed it last week in the Senate again with Senators Collins, Smith, Marshall. Senators Marshall and Collins, Republicans, Tina Smith from Minnesota, and me, so 4 of us on the HELP committee. And we feel really good about our prospects. We have many other co-sponsors. You'll hear from Congressman Scott after me. I want to acknowledge the really good work that he's done in the House with Virginia Fox on this bill. And they have worked on solving one of the issues that's been kind of a challenge over on the Senate side, which is you want to make sure that these are programs that are high quality. How do you define the quality metric? And I think the work that has been done on the House side over years has kind of really narrowed in on kind of a good way to define the quality metric so that we know when we're funding these programs, they are in fact high quality. So this is my number one priority on the Health Committee on the education side. In the Senate, we put health and education in the same committee, so I have education and workforce priorities and I have health priorities. This is my number one priority in the education and workforce. I think the time is right. The community colleges have been the best champions of this idea. And I'm so impressed with what I see as I travel around my Virginia community colleges. Of course, they're already doing a lot of high quality career and tech, but they often have to do it in the framework of a 15-week semester if they want students to be able to access Pell Grants, if they're Pell eligible. And some of the courses, my community college presidents would rather change it from a 15-week course to like a 6-week, 5-day-a-week, 8 hours a day, super intense. That more matches the schedule that the student, the worker would rather have, but right now they can't get Pell for it. So I think my community colleges are already doing a good job at this. They're going to do an even better job if we can get this bill passed. That's my top priority. Now, we need your help. We need your help. This is a most challenging time in the first few weeks of this administration. And I'll tell you, one of the things that's challenging is there's so many actions happening every day. And I'll be blunt, Congress is not being given a heads up or insight about what's going on. So we're not being told, here's an action that we're going to take with respect to the Department of Education. Oh, I really don't like that action, but at least you told me. Now, there's no advance notice on any of this stuff. All these executive orders, rumors about the Department of Education is going to be terminated. We find out about it once it's happened, and sometimes not even then. The way we really find out about it is you call us. I've been using this analogy to describe the activities the last couple of weeks. I feel like somebody has taken a box with a jigsaw puzzle in it and dumped it out on the table in front of me upside down. So all I see is the cardboard back of all these pieces. And they didn't give me the box with the picture on it so that I even know what the puzzle looks like. That's the effect of all these executive actions, rumors, the Doge boys or whatever doing all this stuff. When I talk to a constituent and they tell me, you know, I'm running a Head Start program, but I couldn't get my funding this week, a piece of the puzzle turns over. Okay, I start to see that. I talk to a community health clinic and they tell me that their funding is frozen, another piece turns over. I talk to educational institutions and they tell me, boy, this slashing of NIH funding, this is really going to affect other pieces turn over. We are assembling the puzzle and seeing what the overall goal is based upon the communication that we're getting from stakeholders, from our K-12 system, from our community colleges, other higher ed, from our local officials who are really psyched about an infrastructure project only to have it paused midstream. So it's always important to communicate every year you're here, and you need to be. It's especially important this year because this is a somewhat unprecedented time and that actions are being taken without us being given the advance notice. And this is not happening to me because I'm a Democratic senator. I talk to my Republican senators and they're getting the same kind of surprise factor every day. What's next? So your visit comes at a most propitious time, and I'm going to be with a number of my Virginia colleagues here in an hour or so. And let me just say one other thing. Our community colleges do as good a job as anybody in this country in dealing with underrepresented, high-need populations. For some reason, that's now maybe not cool, I guess. You know, the whole attack on DEI, I was the mayor of Richmond, Virginia. It was the capital of the Confederacy. I was a civil rights lawyer for 17 years before I got into this line of work. I know what it means when people go after DEI. This ain't subtle. It's not hard to figure out what this means when people go after DEI. What's wrong with diversity? I mean, like, I think it's a strength of our country. What's wrong with inclusion? Some people don't like the equity word. I don't find anything troubling about equity. It's a lot better than inequity. I mean, so this is a particularly challenging time, and you guys do this as well as any institution in this country. Serve hard to serve populations that haven't had every opportunity. You know, you really are as inclusive as we get in this country. And I just hope you'll stay at it and avoid buzzwords if that'll help, but just keep being people who lead with your heart and want to serve everyone. That's what's so special about our community colleges. I'm going to tell you two stories that I heard from federal employees last week about how far this attack on DEI is going, because they'll kind of shock you. There's an employee at a federal agency, I'm not going to mention which one in DC, who is a cancer survivor and hosts a once a month virtual cancer survivors roundtable discussion with other employees in the agency. I'm going through chemo, do you have any advice? I'm going through radiation, do you have any advice? You know, is there a good, behavioral health person I can talk to because this has been tough? Ordered by his supervisor, you no longer can have the monthly virtual cancer survivors discussion during your lunch hour. You can no longer do that. Clearly, this is a poorly written anti-DEI order that's percolating down through the agency, and somebody has read it and think, well, I don't know, this cancer survivor lunch, it sounds kind of like a DEI thing. The cruelty, the incompetence. A second employee came up to me last week and said, I am on unpaid at her agency. She's the head of an agency in the education space, head of a department in an agency in the education space. I'm on unpaid administrative leave. I'm sorry, I'm on paid administrative leave. Usually paid administrative leave is for somebody who is being investigated for a disciplinary infraction. But you're on paid leave because they haven't yet found that you did anything wrong. But then she paused and said, I'm on paid administrative leave, for a non-disciplinary reason. For a non-disciplinary reason. What reason is that? A previous secretary of this department in the first Trump term suggested that if we want to be good supervisors, we could go to a 2-day diversity training. And I signed up for that, and it's in my record that I attended a 2-day diversity training under the current president's previous administration, and because of that, I have been put on indefinite paid administrative leave. I'm being paid by the taxpayer, but I'm locked out of my office, I'm locked out of my email because I attended. I said, wait, were you the instructor? Were you the organizer? No, I attended it at the recommendation of the head of my agency. This is a demonstration of how really cruel this is, but also just way beyond the bounds of what's appropriate. I've been meeting with my colleges the last few days. They're looking at their own programs and trying to decide, if we take this word out, can we just keep serving people? And you're smart people, and if you can figure out ways to make it sound more palatable, then make it sound more palatable. But don't cut back even by a percentage, even by 1% on your efforts to serve the populations that so depend on this robust network of community colleges that serve every city and county in Virginia and that serve every city and county all across this country. We're really counting on you right now. And if you run into problems, if you're doing what you believe your mission compels you to do and you run into problems, then reach out to folks like Congressman Scott and me or your own representatives. Don't skimp on the service. If you have an obstacle put in your way, reach out to us and see if we can clear it for you. We won't be able to clear everyone, but we'll be able to clear some. But don't, in advance, cut back on your advocacy and your efforts. Go full speed ahead. If you have a problem, reach out to us and see if we can help resolve it for you. Thanks for everything you do. It's really great to be here.